Okay, so I have some data that I want to share here because the interesting thing about this token launch from Pump is this is the first time that there's been, it depends on how you want to define this, but at least some attempt at competition in the launchpad space. So Pump was extremely dominant in terms of the market share that they commanded. On the launchpad side of things, it was like 96% for the vast majority of time that they've been in operation. That has gone, it's sort of found equilibrium here at closer to 65% currently, in between Zora. Actually, Zora is the one that looks like has the most staying power, despite the hatred of people on the timeline. But like kind of other things like Clanker, Believe, the Arena, um, Let's Bonk.fun. So there actually is meaningful competition on the Launchpad side of things. But what they have done extremely well is they've been able to supplement some of the market share that they lost with Pump Swap. So if you look at the aggregate amount of revenue or volume that they've been able to generate for what they've lost on the bonding curve side of the trading, they've more than made up for in their AMM
Right. I
fees.
mean, people were posting the one chart of the coin fees versus
Right.
the pump swap fee, and it's just like, look how far down the coin fee. It's like this is a vertically integrated DeFi primitive.
Yeah.
Maybe they do lending, maybe they do whatever.
And I'm curious to see what those metrics look like post token launch, because I would imagine a lot of the token probably goes as incentives for choosing Pump to launch your whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit torn on it. I actually don't have the same problem with Pump that a lot of people do. I'm kind of rooting for it. I I on the plus side of things. All right, here's the thing that I find interesting. I think you could kind of look at Pump as a comp to something like a Hyperliquid or like a centralized exchange, or you could look at it almost as a creator platform like an OnlyFans. I think I kind of like it as an OnlyFans type platform actually, where when you hear it's like illicit, people kind of don't like it, but it obviously has product market fit. And for people that are creators on each of those platforms, porn stars, meme coin creators, it's been actually quite good. And I actually think OnlyFans is one of the, if it weren't OnlyFans and it wasn't, related to pornography, it'd be one of the big tech successes of the last 10 years. It's a phenomenal business. And so I sort of look at Pump from that lens. I do think, in a way, it would be simpler to underwrite the execution of Pump as an exchange because there's a much more clear playbook for how to compete in that arena, albeit it's much more crowded. I think their vision is to redefine uh, kind of what it means to be a social media app and actually compete with maybe the OnlyFans or maybe the YouTubes of the world. And they kind of see themselves as this is where creators can come to make money to begin with. The question is, how do you actually make the next Mr. Beast, which no one has really figured that out yet. And so it's it's interesting. It's kind of like, if you look at it through that lens, you're underwriting a really big swing. I think from the token side of things, the $4 billion FDV valuation, people are going to look at as attractive. I think the market will look at that as pretty reasonable.
I think of it as the market is valuing it at probably a pretty fair value based off of just the valuation methodology as an exchange, but
Mhm.
it has a massive call option on whether or not it can bridge the gap into social media or
Totally.
consumer platform,
Yeah.
content platform, etc. And I don't think that those are mutually exclusive. I think the whole point is that they're combined in a unique way that I think the consumer world is moving towards, which is, they've proven that speculation is a consumer application. I think that you start to integrate into chat and communication and live streaming, all the different forms of communication that make this differentiated. And you talk about OnlyFans, and there are examples there, but the other one that I think about is Whatnot, and sort of like that the TikTok commerce. I don't know if you've ever spent time there, and that is actually one of the fastest growing segments of e-commerce. Is basically like it. Whatnot is specifically for collectibles, and TikTok commerce is like all the people who are like trying on clothes on TikTok, and like you can buy them direct, and it's really interesting. But it's definitely a live stream or a very small soundbite or video bite form of commerce that I think most consumers are kind of undervaluing,
Hmm.
instead of buying clothes from or shine, you're buying it from, Pump, and it's a meme coin, which you can make money on. It's just like speculation, entertainment, and content, I think, combining into a single app.